All right, today we are jumping into a story that honestly sent shockwaves through the entire tech world. We're talking about the massive, and I mean massive, security breach at the AI company Mercor. And this isn't just another hack. This is a real, hard look at the fragile foundations our AI-driven future is being built on.
To really get a sense of how big this was, we have to start with this number, 4 terabytes. That is just a colossal amount of data. It represents the digital lives and the deepest corporate secrets that were just siphoned right out of Mercor systems.
And that number is exactly why experts are calling this the single most dangerous AI security incident of the year. It's not just about the sheer volume of data. It's about what that data is, who it belongs to, and how its theft just completely rattles the entire global AI supply chain.
Okay, so let's get into it. How did one vulnerability, one tiny crack, escalate into a full-blown systemic crisis? Well, this was less of a simple data breach and way more of a meticulously planned digital heist. So what were the attackers actually after? They didn't just grab a random pile of data. No, they went straight for what you might call the crown jewels. And they hit 2 very different categories, affecting both the companies that power our AI and the actual people who work for them.
So on one hand, you've got the theft of these priceless corporate secrets. We're talking the very blueprints for building powerful AI. And on the other, you have the deeply personal, deeply sensitive information of thousands of individuals. It's a breach with very real, very human consequences.
And these corporate secrets, they're a huge deal. We're talking about the unique training methods and data protocols from AI giants like Meta, OpenAI, and Anthropic. This stuff is their competitive moat. It's the secret sauce that keeps them ahead of everyone else. Having that out in the open, it's a potential catastrophe for the whole industry.
And this is what really brings the human side of this breach into focus. Over 70% of the stolen data, that's more than 3 terabytes, was made up of video interviews and identity documents. Yeah, including passports. We're talking about the sensitive personal data of over 40,000 contractors and employees, now just out there in the hands of criminals.
So how did they pull it off? This wasn't some brute force, kick the door down kind of attack. It was sophisticated. It was insidious. It was an operation that targeted the very trust that we all place in the software we use every single day. They used what's known as a software supply chain attack. Now, if that sounds complicated, think of it like this. Imagine a trusted supplier secretly poisons one batch of flour. That single tainted batch then gets baked into thousands of different products, from bread to cakes, contaminating everything before anyone even knows something is wrong. In this case, that poisoned ingredient was a super popular open-source library called Light LLM. A ton of companies use it to manage how they talk to different AI models. The attackers specifically corrupted versions 1.82.7 and 1.82.8, basically turning this trusted piece of code into a Trojan horse. And the sequence was just devastatingly effective. Step 1, compromise the library. Step 2, inject the malicious code. Step 3, just wait as thousands of organizations, including Mercor, unknowingly install the infected update. And then finally, Step 4, exploit all that widespread access to steal everything.
And get this, it was a 2-pronged attack by 2 different groups. A threat group known as Team PCP was responsible for that initial, really sophisticated supply chain compromise. Then, the notorious extortion group Lapsus/ came in, exploited the access Team PCP had created, and turned the whole breach into a tool for blackmail.
The moment the breach was confirmed in late March of 2026, the fallout was immediate and it was severe. This wasn't just a problem for Mercor anymore. It was a full-blown crisis for the entire ecosystem that relied on them.
And that's because this whole incident exposed a critical weakness. As this quote points out, it highlighted the fragility of our shared digital infrastructure. The very tools and platforms we built to speed up AI development also created a single point of failure with catastrophic potential.
And this timeline just shows how quickly everything unraveled. After Mercor confirmed the breach, Meta almost immediately froze all its work with the company, trying to stop the bleeding. And then, by April 1st, a massive class action lawsuit was filed by the 40,000 people whose data was stolen.
So here's the crucial point. Even with all these details, this story is far from over. The initial damage is done, sure, but the true consequences, they're still unfolding.
Right now, we're left with these huge, looming uncertainties. Nobody knows the full extent of how this stolen data is going to be misused.
Forensic investigations are still trying to piece it all together. And the potential for this data to be used in future attacks, well, that remains a terrifying possibility.
Which brings us to the final, critical question this whole incident forces us all to confront. You see, the Mercor breach wasn't just about one company's failure. It was a massive warning shot fired at the entire industry. It revealed cracks not just in a single piece of software, but in the very trust that holds our digital world together. So, as we all race to build our future on the promise of artificial intelligence, we have to ask ourselves, how secure are the foundations we're actually building on?